Court will come to order. It is Monday, August the 22nd, 2022. It is 9:05. I apologize for the late start. We had some logistical issues we needed to address. And Kerr County Commissioners Court is now in session. If you would, please rise for the prayer and pledge, which will be led by Commissioner Gibson.
Bow our heads in prayer, please. Dear Heavenly Father, we pray for rain here and throughout the nation. We pray for judgment in our considerations as we represent the public. Forgive us of our civil disobedience, or at least ask us to refrain from such. We thank you for all things given and to be received. We ask in Christ's name. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please be seated. I've turned my phone to silent. I ask everybody else to do the same or turn it off so we don't have any interruptions during the proceeding. First part of our regular Commissioners Court meetings, we have public input, and I understand there are several people that have signed up. I think I have about 10. And just to clarify, so everybody knows what the local this court's rules are, if you want to talk on an agenda item, it's limited to 6 people. That's the 6-person limitation. As for public input, there is no limitation on the public input. So, however many want to speak. I do want to clarify that I see a lot of this on the declaration of disaster. That is going to be a specific topic next week on the 29th. That's when that's going to be considered. We're not going to have discussion about that today, but I understand a lot of people want to talk about it. So if you want to talk about it, you're certainly welcome to. So with that, I'm going to start off with number 1 is Gail Wright.
And guess what I'm going to talk about? My name is Gail Wright. I am the Precinct 119 chairperson for the Kerr County Republican Party. I'm here to ask the Commissioners Court and Judge Kelly in particular to issue a declaration of disaster at the border. A resolution is not enough. It must be a declaration. Kerr County needs to join the 16+ counties that have already issued a declaration of disaster. This is not a political issue. It's a matter of public safety. Sheriff Letha needs these funds that will become available through Operation Lone Star to handle the invasion that is coming over our border and into our county. He can only access these funds if a declaration of disaster is declared. And for once, these funds won't be coming out of the pockets of the citizens of Kerrville and Kerr County. I urge you to make this happen. Thank you.
Next is Joanne Lynch.
Good morning. My name is Joanne Lynch. I live at 669 FM 480. I'm speaking as an individual, and I appreciate the opportunity to talk to the court this morning. A couple of weeks ago, a friend of mine told me that she was taking dog food out to Kerr County Animal Services, KCAS, because she had heard they were out of food, which I found unimaginable, but unfortunately it was true. KCAS had no money for food for the animals impounded there, and nothing would be budgeted until October. If the citizens, the taxpayers of Kerr County, didn't step forward with food donations, the dogs, the cats, the kittens, the puppies impounded there would not eat. And several questions come to mind. How did we get to this point? Was it seizures of multiple animals? I think I read that there was a lot of food donated at that time to take care of those crises. Was it lack of sufficient budget for this year? And if that's the case, perhaps the person who's responsible for overseeing that portion of the budget needs to pass it on to someone else. Why haven't emergency funds been allocated? Why does KCAS continue to impound animals and accept seizures knowing that there's no money to buy food to feed them? And how can we expect taxpayers who have already been taxed to take care of this out at KCAS to once again come up with donations to feed these animals. The weekend edition of the Kerrville Daily Times contained an editorial about animal abuse, which I would like to quote from this time. Section 42.092, Cruelty of Non-Livestock Animals of the Texas Penal Code, prohibits a person from intentionally, knowingly, or recklessly cruelly treating an animal, which includes failing to provide food, care, or shelter. Thank you.
Next is Robin Monroe.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Robin Monroe. I live in Kerr County, and I'm going to speak only as a private citizen, even though I am involved with the Republican Party here. So I just want to say, Judge Kelly, that I'm disappointed when I heard about your stand of supporting our sheriff. And I think the biggest reason is because you have taken federal money, ARPA money, you can use at your discretion. Now the citizens of Kerr County are in a position that we do have a disaster. And so I am asking you to reconsider your stance and become political and become conservative and take a stand for the citizens of Kerr County. Because this is how I feel about it. I feel if our government, if our governor is so concerned about it that he's busing these illegal aliens up to New York, and they're in a crisis and they only have received 5,000 of them, and we have them crossing the border by hundreds of thousands, that we have a disaster. And so I'm just saying, I think you want to be on the right side of this in about 30 days, because if not, I just have it that I think it would be great. I'll start a GoFundMe page, and we can help to disseminate these illegal aliens and help the sheriff's department. And I don't know where you live, but I'll just let them know that you feel like we're a sanctuary city, and they can go and contact you to figure out how to handle it, because we don't have a disaster. So I know that this is strong language, but I think that it has to be said. We've got to start coming down on the right side of this for the citizens of Kerr County, but more so for America. Thank you very much.
As everyone knows, I can't respond. The next one is Bethany Puccio. Am I saying your name right, Bethany?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Thank you. Good morning. My name is Bethany Puccio. Good morning, Judge Kelly and Commissioners. I live at 418 Crestridge Drive right here in Kerrville, and I represent We the People Liberty in Action. I lead the local government chapter there. I'm going to start with a quote from George Washington. I love history because we don't have to be very smart. We just have to read history. And we just have to see what already happened, because it's going to happen again. The time is near at hand which must determine whether Americans are to be free men or slaves. We were there in the 1700s, and we're there once again, because history does repeat itself. There's been a saying going around for the last couple of years: whatever you think you would have been doing in Germany in 1930, you better be doing that now. Times have changed, but people haven't. So I'm here for two reasons this morning. The first one, the most important one, is that we want to stand with our sheriff. Sheriff Letha has asked you to declare a disaster, which would give him access to the funds set aside for him in Operation Lone Star. He cannot access those funds to handle the surge coming over our border and into our county without you, Judge Kelly, signing that declaration. And I think it's a no-brainer. Our sheriff is asking for help. He's saying he doesn't have the resources to handle the, it's not hundreds of thousands, it's millions of people that came over our border. We had, 50 of them found dead in a semi an hour away. I have a friend that found one on her property. This is well over a year ago, hiding in a bush. I mean, they're here, and they're coming in droves. We see the buses driving through. We know our governor is transporting them on our dime to other places like New York. And so it seems that a judge and commissioners that just could not wait to get their hands on ARPA money against the will of the people, when hours of testimony saying, don't take this money, don't obligate us to those executive orders, the language in this is dangerous and Commissioner Blue is the only one that stood with us in that you just wanted to have that money. It seems that getting this money from Operation Lone Star would be a no-brainer to this court. The second thing that I would like to have happen, and many of the people here would like to have happen, is we would like to stand with our Texans. I'm from upstate New York, and I've always said Texas isn't a place, it's an idea. It stands for freedom. Came up through, as a young person, you read about the Alamo and the line in the sand. They gave their lives for freedom. If there's one state in the union that stands for freedom, it's Texas. It's an idea. And I will tell you, I've been disappointed in Texans when I got here, because many of them do not fight for freedom as I thought that they would. And we have a surge in our border. We have Texans that are being killed. We have sex trafficking. We've got rape trees. This is a humanitarian crisis. It is horrific what is happening at our border. And we ought to be standing as Texans together like they did in the Alamo and saying, you know what? Not here, not now. So I'm asking you to declare a disaster and also declare an invasion. Thank you.
Next is Jan Albert. Hebert? Hebert? I don't pronounce the T, right?
I say Abert, my husband says Abert.
Well, I at least got one of them right.
Okay. Good morning. My name is Jan Abert. I am the Kerr County Precinct Chair for Precinct 113, but I'm here just to speak for myself and hopefully get through this. I'm very nervous. I would like to thank you, Judge Kelly, and Commissioners Ballou, Gibson, and Harris. I know Mr. Letts is not here, for allowing me to speak this morning. I'm here to respectfully ask you, Judge Kelly, to sign the declaration of disaster required to allow our Sheriff Letha to obtain the available funds from the state Operation Lone Star, specifically dedicated to border security. These funds would allow Sheriff Letha to pay his deputies for the overtime they are putting in and to get the tools they need to protect we, the citizens of Kerr County. My understanding is that this request has to be done by August 31st, 10 days from now. My question is, why has it taken so long to sign the declaration? Although our county is not a border county, we're still being affected by the open border. This month alone, a 26-year-old man accused of illegal immigration is among 13 people the Kerr County Sheriff has arrested on suspicion of driving while intoxicated. Secondly, a 21-year-old Houston woman was arrested recently on suspicion of smuggling 4 adults and 1 minor not authorized to be in the country. I am personally aware of 2 consequences of the open border that we have allowed by not standing up for our rights as U.S. citizens. My son works at a local high school who has upwards of 10 incoming freshmen who don't speak any English currently. While this is not their fault, it is something that needs to be addressed because in the classroom, the teachers are tasked with both the content learning and teaching the English language, which does distract from the time that the teacher could be helping the other kids in the class. And by the way, my son doesn't speak Spanish. If we continue to allow this movement of individuals across our border, we can't continue to have high school in the same way that we have had. I'm sure this is not an isolated circumstance. Secondly, I have a cousin who lives in Del Rio, excuse me, and who has a son-in-law who is a Border Patrol agent, and her daughter works for Border Patrol. They have been exposed to many nationalities and illnesses brought into our country because of the open border. I realize this is not a meeting specifically today about the open border, but these are 2 consequences that we as a people have allowed to happen by not standing up for what is right. And I think the right thing to do for Kerr County, in my opinion, is to sign the declaration of disaster. And I cannot imagine any citizen of Kerr County that knows what's happening on our Texas border asking any of you to not sign or support a declaration of disaster that is required now. I ask you, Judge Kelly, to be our hero and sign the declaration of disaster.
Amen.
Thank you. Next is Bill Ferguson.
Hello, my name is Bill Ferguson. I'm a recently retired Border Patrol intelligence agent with over 32 years of service. I'd like to give my perspective on the state of affairs of our southern border. It is virtually out of control. The drug, human smuggling, sex slave business by the Mexican cartels are operating at full steam. There are not nearly enough Border Patrol agents to control the situation. The federal policies by the current administration are making it impossible for Border Patrol to do its job. I have property in Kennet County. The flow of illegal aliens through my property is unprecedented at this time. They vandalized deer feeders, ATVs, and other farming implements. They've broken into my house several times, kicking in the door, stealing whatever they want. On one instance, my wife and I had just gone to bed in the house there. With the truck sitting in front of the house and the porch lights on, the aliens began to bang on the door, attempting entry. It was obviously someone was inside. I yelled at them for a while and they ran off. There are other incidents where they have attacked neighbors' ranchers attempting to do harm or steal vehicles, among other things. Landowners must be armed at all times to prevent harm to themselves and loved ones. Same situation is making its way to Kerr County, with the cartel setting up hubs and distributions areas in the area. That's why it's so important for law enforcement in the area to be able to combat it before it gets out of control like it is in the border area. There's a large amount of money waiting in Austin to be claimed under the Operation Lone Star Initiative for Kerr County. This money would help the sheriff acquire new vehicles, equipment, personnel to combat this threat. The only thing required to get these grants for the sheriff is for Kerr County Judge Kelly to sign a declaration of disaster relating to border security for Kerr County. A resolution for the situation is not enough to get the funds. Something needs to be done. Thank you.
Barbara Ferguson.
My name is Barbara Ferguson. I'm a resident of Kerrville. Commissioners and Judge Kelly, thank you for the time to speak this morning. After experiencing some of the things out in Kennet County, this really made the red lights go off for me, this issue. I got on the phone on Friday and I called James Mentz in the Homeland Security Grants Division regarding our application for these funds. I spoke to him and he made it clear. He said a resolution will do nothing. He must have the judge issue a disaster declaration relating to border security. This does not have to be a declaration that Kerr County, if what we're looking at is the optics, that Kerr County as a whole is a disaster. It's relating to border security, we have a disaster. He gave me info even on exactly where online to find forms that would be a template for issuing this disaster declaration. This is an easy thing. It is not a hard thing. He further went on and said Kerr County is a recognized border traffic corridor. This is coming from the guy in Homeland Security in Austin. He knows it. Then he said because of our location, he would, quote, love to give us the money. And the request was before him. He had the paperwork in hand. $900,000 is at stake here. $900,000 will go a long way in our sheriff's department. Our only holdup is signing this declaration. If you have any reservations that our county has a disaster situation relating to border security, please consider the following. Was it a disaster to the friends and family of 4 motorcyclists killed on Highway 16 by an illegal alien? Is it a disaster the teenagers and their families and friends who are killed by fentanyl-laced drugs that pass through Kerr County? And this is happening all over the country. A representative in Minnesota considers it a disaster up there because of the drugs that are coming through here. Is it a disaster to the young girls and women at safe houses like Mercy Gate Ministries? And they were the lucky ones who got out. The sex trafficking trade is going through Kerr County. The sheriff knows it. That's why he wants to do something about this. All I can say finally is it is a disaster if we fail to secure these funds for our sheriff. And if we stick our heads in the sand and we think not in our nice little community, no, it's already here. We're some of the lucky ones here that live in safe places. But those places won't be safe much longer, and we have to have consideration for the people who are not as fortunate to be in safe places. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is, I think, is it Barbara Heisey? Am I saying that right?
I'm Barbara Heisey. I'm a resident of Kerr County. I'm precinct chair for 215 in the Republican Party. I've raised 7 children in Kerr County, and I know how the kids work together. And I also know that, you know, it's going to be a real tragedy if one of our family members is attacked, if our homes are attacked, because and not by an illegal, but because our county sheriff is taking care of an illegal situation, and he doesn't have the personnel or the money to get more personnel so that he can take care of our emergency. And something tragic happens in our home, maybe not by an illegal, but because the illegal situation was being taken care of. And it's not fair for those people that are being brought in, because they're, you know, some of them are slaves. And we're encouraging the cartel to do this by not fighting it. We're not joining in with the other counties that have declared war on this. And you know what? Our little community of Kerr County is very important, and the safety of Kerr County is very important. The money's there, get it and use it.
Thank you. Ian Doherty.
Good morning, gentlemen. My name is Ian Doherty. I'm a resident of Kerrville and a resident of Kerr County. The reason I'm here today is echoed simply by each and every individual in here that is speaking about the declaration of emergency declaration and the declaration of invasion. Because we can no longer stick our heads in the sand anymore. We do have a problem. We have a problem with not having enough money. When the sheriff runs out of gas and has to choose what calls to go to, there's a problem. We need to make sure that the people that we charge to take care of us can take care of us. We need to access the Operation Lone Star funds so that the sheriff does have the opportunity to take care of us. Because as was said, the sheriff has a great deal of things going on. He has to take care of the safety of this community, this entire county, for all the regular things that happen. But he also has to take care of all the illegals that are coming in, which leads to the second part of the Declaration of Invasion. What this does is just put pressure on the governor to be able to declare this, to be able to do what he promised to do, is take care of the people of Texas. I've been here since November 1st, 2001. Texas is my home. I come from Iowa, but Texas is my home. Kerr County is my home. Kerrville is my home. And what I'm seeing lately is a very dangerous thing. With Kerrville, especially, I call it the snow globe effect, because it looks really pretty until you shake it up a little bit, and then you see what's really going on. When you have people, and this is also a humanitarian crisis as well, when you have people that are dying, as was said earlier, in trailers just because they want something that they never had, which was freedom, an opportunity, just like we have as well. They're victims. They're victims of slavery. And I'm tired, very tired, in fact, of people calling it human trafficking and buttering it up and making it look pretty. It's slavery. Now, those who do not go along with this declaration, both of them, may be held to responsibility of that slavery. I, for one, don't want to be that. That's why I'm up here today. Because I want to make sure that people understand what we're facing. Rape trees, you've got people dying in semis, you've got children being trafficked, slavery. What's going on? It's up to you to do something about it. If you don't, there's going to be a problem. As was said before, the cartels control it. You're either with the Texans, who can do something about it, or you're with the cartels. It's your choice. Make the right one.
Rich Paces.
Thank you, Judge. My name is Rich Paces. I'm a resident of Center Point, and I am Kerr County Commissioner-elect for Precinct 2. And gentlemen, I sure wish I was sitting up there already, because I'd be doing everything possible in support of declaring this invasion and local disaster as a result. So I'm here again. I've been here before, but I'm here again to implore you to declare the invasion, to join Kinney, Edwards, Goliad, Terrell, Presidio, Maverick, Parker, Atascosa, Wise, and now Tyler counties in passing this resolution to declare an invasion at the border and a local disaster also. Look, we've got over 2 million migrants who've illegally crossed Texas' southern border since Biden took over. Crime's up dramatically, our social support systems are overwhelmed, and taxpayers everywhere across the nation are facing a huge financial burden because of it. The Mexican cartels are the only ones who are profiting, and they're in control of our border. They're profiting from human trafficking, which is horrific, gang-related crime, and they're flooding our streets with fentanyl and other deadly drugs. More than 50 suspected terrorists have been apprehended at the border. Just a matter of time until we have another terrorist activity here on our homeland. Are you going to do nothing about it? Look, this is an invasion. It's a challenge to our state's sovereignty. And in my opinion, it has created a crisis here in Kerr County. So whether you think you have the legal authority to declare an invasion or not, or to declare a local disaster or not, it's time to act now to defend our citizens, to defend Texas and our nation. What authority did the other 10 counties use to declare an invasion? What authority did our patriotic founding fathers have when they committed treason by declaring independence? What are we worrying about legalities for? This is the time to act. Take a stand. Join the other 10 counties, maybe it is 16, whatever it is. Declare an invasion at our border and press Governor Abbott to declare an invasion and start deporting those who violate our laws by crossing into Texas illegally. It's only going to be the apprehension and deportation of these illegals that has a chance of stopping the invasion. Sending busloads to Washington or New York, fine, it catches a little bit of the media's attention that's been so absent. But it doesn't really accomplish anything, and apprehending people and turning them loose at ports of entry for the CBP to process the illegals and then put them on buses or planes and distribute them throughout the nation. That's futile. It's only going to be when we start deporting apprehended illegals that we have even a chance of turning this around. So I urge you to take action now, take away the incentive to come, declare this an invasion, a local disaster, please support our Sheriff's Department. We've been talking budgets and how desperate we are for funds. Here's an opportunity to get some additional funds to support Larry and his team, who've done a valiant job. But it's up to you guys to make sure that he has the funds necessary to protect the county citizens. So, again, don't get bound up in the legalities. Do what's right. Declare an invasion and a local disaster, because it is.
The last speaker that's asked to speak is the sheriff. He asked for the opportunity to be able to speak and provide input to the court.
I know the judge can't respond because I'm going to kind of respond for both of us. I really appreciate all the support I have on such an important subject. You know, I really appreciate it. But the way I want to start is, like I said, I thank y'all. The judge and I, there's no doubt we've had some heated discussions the last couple of weeks. I thought last Friday he was going to ask me to leave his office, okay? But, you know, but the good thing, that's politics at work, okay? We were able to enter as friends and we left as friends, you know? And what I want to let y'all know on the judge's behalf is the judge actually told me I need to do a better job on some things. And, you know, as an elected official, you know, I don't have to listen to the judge. But, you know, once I listen to him, I understand it was about educating the public. Y'all all know what's going on. But, you know, we have 50,000 plus people in Kerr County. And a lot of people don't. Okay, you know, I felt like I was doing that. We do posts. I'm sure anybody that likes our Facebook knows what's going on. But, you know, what I need to do, I need to do a better job of educating everybody about, you know, yeah, we've damaged some vehicles. We've had some injuries. You know, we got some overtime. There's a lot of issues that the judge, you know, probably wasn't aware of, you know, that I need to know. I'm housing people in jail. What's that costing us per week and per month and stuff like that. You know, so like I said, we have had some heated discussions. We're still talking. It's going to be a good week this week, and I'm getting the judge what he's asked me to get. You know, I think he'll listen to me, and things look good. But one of the important things here, and I appreciate what y'all said, but you know, I want you to know as your sheriff, whether I get these funds or not, the county's safe. Okay, we are safe. Y'all look. Anybody knows what we did this weekend? The Commissioner's Court. You know, the judge, the budget is not approved, but I'm looking at it. If it does get approved, a $1 million increase. Why is that? $250,000 in fuel, $200,000 or $300,000 towards feeding inmates. So, you know, they do give me everything I can, but what we have wants and needs. I mean, what they're giving me are my needs, okay? This is my wants. Yeah, there's money out there, but one thing I want you to know, the county is safe. It will always remain safe whether I get these funds or not. The biggest issue on this is what we say is Highway 41 and I-10. Okay, that's where we focus. And what these funds would do will enable me to, delegate additional manpower, buy what we call toys that I couldn't really come to the Commissioner's Court and ask them for. It will give me that ability. But what I want y'all to know is the judge and I are going to work together this week. He's asked me to do some things a little better, and I'm going to educate him and the public better. You know, we're going to start today, and we'll work towards that. I know we have a timeline, but I feel very comfortable the judge and I and the Commissioner's Court will be able to come to some kind of agreement, and I appreciate y'all's help.
Thank you. Let's move on to Commissioner's comments. I'm going to call on Commissioner for Precinct 3, who's absent today, Commissioner Lentz, who sent an email asking me to say that he would appreciate it if I would let the court and the public know that he says, I ask you to add a special Commissioner's Court meeting to the agenda on August 29th. I would like to consider both a resolution concerning the current border situation and discuss an emergency declaration declaring the increased law enforcement needed due to the border situation. That's Commissioner Less's comment for the day. So, that out of the way, Precinct 1.
I don't have anything to report. Not enough rain to brag about.
No. I have nothing to report except a little bit of in the last meeting, we had a presentation of a proposed subdivision, Twin Springs, and I made a comment that the road width was less than 60 feet. I've since found that that's incorrect. It is 60 feet in width. My concern has been the width of the paving, and that is the engineering is still a concern. But the 60-foot width portion, I was incorrect, and I'm stating it properly now. We do have concerns about the safety of the engineering and the width of the pavement and the ability of the pavement to withstand heavier traffic.
Precinct 4.
This is our best shot for rain I've seen in the forecast in a while. So everybody do the rain dance when you leave here. We really need a shot, and it looks like we got a shot this week. Hopefully it comes through.
Good. Well, the comment that I would share is that the sheriff and I have been working very diligently on this, and we're looking at numbers, data. And just this morning we were talking about 20 some odd inmates that are immigrants that are in our jail. And we charge $65 a day for that, and we're running numbers, and we're talking about at least $40,000, $50,000 a month. And so one of the things that I'm trying to balance is the fiscal issue with regard to the county and the need from a fiscal point of view. But it's also important for me to balance the fact that the public needs to know, and the sheriff and I have talked about this, you are safe. Our sheriff's office is doing a wonderful job. I'm telling you, under difficult circumstances. But the public needs to know that the sheriff's office has the welfare of the county at heart and is taking care of it. And so that's the balancing that we're trying to do here. So that's just what we're working on, and we worked through the weekend, and we'll be working this week. It's on the agenda next Monday, as Commissioner Letts asked. So now everybody knows exactly where we stand on this. So with that, we're ready to start Commissioner's Court. We'll go to the consideration agenda, which is item 1.1. And Ms. Leonard is here. And I have this is the presentation of the 2021 Distinguished Service Award to the Kerr County Historical Commission.
I'm losing my audio.
Some of them stay.
Yeah. History was tough stuff for me.
You're welcome to stay.
I've never seen that. Put that guy's in the back.
Ms. Leonard.
I'm not far away.
Good morning.
Sorry to make you wait so long.
Okay, this is kind of anticlimactic. Anyway, I'm Julie Leonard. I'm chairwoman of the Kerr County Historical Commission. I don't know if we have any of our members here. I think Wilma T. is here. She's our treasurer. Our officers are Bunny Bond, who's our vice chair. Second vice chair is Mary Lee Stewart. Lonza T. is secretary. We have 67 members this year that have contributed 4,967 hours. That made this Distinguished Service Award possible. I've provided y'all with a pretty thick survey. I think Jody was supposed to give it to you. I'm sure in your spare time you'll find it really wonderful reading. But this survey I fill out every year. It gives our projects, they ask questions, we tell them what our project is, and then they want to know exactly what you did to get this project going. So that's what I do to get the award. Also, I became chairwoman in 2009. My husband and I moved back to Kerr County in 2007. I joined the commission in 2008, and suddenly in 2009, I'm chairperson. So this has been a 13-year spiel for me. When we first started, we only had maybe 10 members, so we're now 67. So it's really an honor for me to be here and accepting this award. And actually the only familiar face was Jonathan, who's not here today. So when I first came in the commission. Also in the past 2 years, it's been really difficult for us to function, but somehow we've done it and we're successful. But I want to tell you a little bit what we've done this year already. We reorganized the summer history camp. We had 40
4th and 5th graders at the Union Church building for the week in June. And each day was a daily change of programs and activities. And they included the Upper Guadalupe River Authority, flint napping by Jim Morris. Phyllis Shelton told about the archaeology of the flint napping. We also, Tuesday, we had Clifton Pfeiffer, who entertained with poems and taught the kids how to make toys that were used in the early part of Kerr County. Of course, he's always entertaining with singing and all that. Also, the Daughters of the Texas Revolution, Joshua D. Brown chapter, taught the kids how to make butter and ice cream, and also some needle crafts. And she said, incidentally, the boys did as well as the girls in the needle crafts. So you ladies, you need to remember that about your boys. They can sew. I'm sure you guys can sew. Also on Stan Kubinka gave a program on different Texas flags. He was a great volunteer, and we're hoping he'll join our commission. Julius Neinhofer also gave a program about early farming and ranching tools, and he also surprised the campers with an old working chronograph. I think it was from the early 1900s that played tubes. It wound up and played tubes. I was even impressed. Also, the former Texas Rangers came and told about their Ranger Honor Code, and the campers took the oath of the Rangers, and they became junior Texas Rangers with badges and certificates. They also learned roping techniques and about frontier firearms. The camp ended on Friday with Buzzy Hughes of Buzzy's Barbecue prepared the Texas state food of chili to the campers and the volunteers. Soon we'll be dedicating the Garrett Insurance Company historical marker, and the YO Lime Ranch marker has been delivered, but we have no dedication plan for that at this time. We also applied this year and received, or we actually applied last year, and received a Texas Historical Commission Untold Story historical marker. This marker is paid for by the state of Texas, and so it went to the Gate of Heaven Cemetery at the Kerrville State Hospital. And the marker honors the Negro patients who died from tuberculosis and are buried at the grounds of the hospital. We also had a 1940 to 1960 photo exhibit at the Kerr Arts and Cultural Center. It was a 6-week exhibit. It was created by Francois Collins, Kathy Carden, and Phyllis Shelton. Also, members, we participated and planned the Texas Archaeological Field School that hosted 300 participants. And we donated some historical brochures of the downtown for their gift bags. Also, Mary Elaine Jones is still adding to Kerr County's history on the North Texas University's Portals to Texas website. There are dozens of our oral histories on this site. We have books, historical books, newspapers, documents, and it's a great way people all over the world and Texas can access this website and find out about Kerr County. We also have 902 members on our Facebook page that we keep everybody up to date on what's going on, you know, what we're doing, and interesting things that we think that the members might enjoy. We also, Wilma here has helped with the display cabinets in the courthouse entry, which have been changed every four months, and this month it is, or these months, it's for the Union Church building, how it was moved and what it looked like, and that was donated by the Friends of the Kerr County Historical Commission, I think 1999, so that was a gift to Kerr County. So that display, those display cases, I think, have been a great addition to our commission. We also, Tony Box is our Kerr County Historical Board Liaison for the Heart of the Hills Heritage Center, and their charter requires that one KCHC member needs to be on their board. However, there are 6 Kerr County Historical Commission members on their board, including the chairperson, who is Dr. Bill Rector. And we have a lot of other projects in the works. I won't go on with that, but Bunny Bond, who's, I think, we know who she is, she's been here quite a lot, and she'll keep y'all informed of what's going on, including me. Also want to tell you that this will be my last year, and so we hope to get some new blood into our commission. I plan to retire. I'll be there giving a lot of good advice, I'm sure. So anyway, I really thank y'all for your monetary support and your moral support, and thank you, Harley, as our liaison, and thank you for your help. And also want to add that the painting of the Union Church is wonderful, the inside and out. It looks like a beautiful new building, and thank you y'all for doing that. So if y'all have any questions, I'll try to answer. Or
We don't have any questions, but for those that don't know, the Kerr County Historical Commission is technically not a department of the county, but we consider it an ex officio department, and it's one of the ones that we're most proud of. And the Texas Historical Commission is presenting the 2021 Distinguished Service Award to Kerr County Historical Commission in recognition of its active and well-balanced preservation program. And we are very proud, and please convey that to all of your members. Thank you.
I also want to say that I went to the meeting of all the historical commissions in Austin in February and talked to a lot of these other county historical chairwomen, and we are very lucky. They had a lot of complaints, and I didn't have any. So, thank you.
I want a picture.
We open it up.
Wilma.
Yeah, all right.
She's a funny woman.
Okay.
We're gonna miss her.
Very good. Thank you.
Very good.
Thank you.
Very appreciate it.
I guess I need to take that.
Yeah, sure.
Pardon? I'll go out.
Okay, let's move on to the next agenda item, which involves a lot of people. This is 1.2. It was supposed to be at 9:10, but we didn't interrupt the public input to do this, so I apologize. This is the presentation of the Above and Beyond Awards to multiple county employees for reaching an over 90% combined completeness percentage in criminal disposition reporting to keep Kerr County compliant so as to receive federal and state grant funds. Ms. Dowdy.
Okay. Here. Judge, would you like everybody to come into the front and we can call them, or do you want to do it one at a time? I was thinking maybe we could have a group photo of these individuals.
Well, I think we can take a photo at the end. Why don't you give them individual recognition, and then we'll take the photo.
Okay, so the Above and Beyond Award that we're presenting today is in recognition for these multiple county employees, a total of 13 of them. There it is on the screen, for their efforts in reaching over a 90% combined completeness percentage for disposition reporting and criminal disposition, and it starts from the arrest to the prosecutor and it ends with the disposition. And so all these people have worked on keeping us compliant so that we can qualify to receive any grant. So thank you to these wonderful, wonderful employees. We'll start.
Just so, Ms. Dowdy, just so that the public understands, and I don't understand this near as well as those of you that are receiving these Above and Beyond awards, but the federal and state government requires that through the criminal justice process that we be at least 90% compliant with all their requirements.
Correct.
And if we're not, then they take us off the list and we're not available for grants. So this is essential to the lifeblood of county government.
Correct. It saves the taxpayers a lot of money. So
Come all the way in.
Why don't y'all come, just stand up here at the front.
They can't hear anything that was just said out there.
If we, okay.
At least we're getting in the room.
We probably don't have enough chairs, but just come on in.
What we said is you're not going to leave the room without being embarrassed a little bit. Is that okay? Just a little bit?
Just a couple chairs here, just squeeze in. This is going to be short. Okay.
Do you mind if I come to the front?
No, please do. And as you call them up, let's leave them standing here at the front so the public can see them.
Y'all hear that? Hold up, just say it. Okay, so the first we have from the 198th District Attorney's Office,
elected official would be Stephen Harpold's office. Sharon Manning. Is she here? If you would just say something. We're going to form a line.
Just kind of cluster on both sides of Miss Dowdy.
And yeah,
Plenty of room.
I'll move out of the way. And then next from Miss Lucy Wilkie's office, 216th District Attorney. Attorney's office would be Candace Flores and Cammie Feldman. Candace is not here today. That's okay. That's all right. So here we have Miss Cammie. Thank you. Office of the Kerr County District Clerk Dawn Lance. Employees are Linda Mendoza and Amber Longenbaugh.
Now, don't stand in front of somebody, so.
Yeah, y'all are welcome to spread out. We'll get the logistics here in a minute. And from Kerr County Attorney Heather Stebbins' office, employees Erica Hughes, Jerry Lee Rust, and Joseph Martinez was not able to be here.
Y'all can be in front of the table. That's okay.
And from the Kerr County Sheriff's Office, Sheriff Larry Leith's office, Olivia Montañez. And then Kerr County Juvenile Probation Chief Jason Davis's department, employee Heather Patton. And then from Kerr County Clerk Jackie Dowdy's office, Nubia Cruces. And we have April Kirkpatrick. And Anita Van Clavering. So thank you all for your efforts, Judge.
And if you could, let's get here in front of the table, kind of a straight line. I'm going to come down on the floor with you, so we're going to huddle so she can get a photograph of everyone.
I welcome you all, please. I would love to have you all here in this photo.
They're out there.
Yep.
I saw them.
The shorter ones, make a second row.
I'll stand for you. One more. That's two. All right. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. And some of you all thought you would never be in court, did you? That was a feel-good moment for us. Thank you.
Thank you, Jack. Thank you for coordinating that.
Let's move on to the next agenda item before we take a break. Item 1.3, which is consider, discuss, and take appropriate action regarding a donation of a woods lamp to detect ringworm to the Kerr County Animal Services Department from Kerrville Pets Alive. Ms. Guerrero. Okay. Sure.
Good morning.
Just please identify yourself so they know who's talking.
I will. My name is Shelley Sandy. I reside at 3940 Oak Park Drive in Kerrville, and I'm speaking today on behalf of Kerrville Pets Alive at 414 Clay Street.
Well, we couldn't tell with that T-shirt, I tell you.
Yeah, a little obvious. Kerrville Pets Alive is seeking approval to donate a Burton Ultraviolet Light Model UV 502 to Kerr County Animal Services to help detect ringworm, a fungal skin disease seen in cats and dogs. Often called a wood lamp or a black light, this UV light should be a standard part of the intake process for every dog and cat, or at a minimum used when an animal has a suspicious skin rash or hair loss of a certain appearance. The Burton UV 502 has an ultraviolet light with a special fluorescent bulb that produces a 365 nanometers wavelength of light, which causes 85% of Microsporum canis, the dermatophyte that causes ringworm, to fluoresce yellow or green when the UV light shines on or near the affected area. It is commonly found in humid, warm climates. But why is it important to identify ringworm? Ringworm is contagious and can be spread from dog or cat to a person. Transmission is by direct contact with an infected animal, but mere exposure does not always result in transmission of the disease. Children are more likely to become infected by ringworm from cats and dogs than adults. Ringworm can be further transmitted by a human to another animal. It can also spread between animals and between people. By quickly identifying an infected animal, KCAS staff can take extra precautions to not only protect themselves, but also potential spread between other animals until the infected animal can be transferred to a vet, medical foster, or a rescue. It should be noted that ringworm is easily and inexpensively treated with antifungal creams or shampoos, or it will resolve itself without treatment in otherwise healthy animals. It is considered zoonotic as it causes skin lesions in people that are easily treated. And we have the light here today. I don't know if I have to tell you a value or anything, but
It's just a handheld plug-in.
it will glow purple and warm up, and it'll also show all our sun damage as well.
Put it in front of the camera, please.
Oh, sorry. This is our UV medical grade light for detecting ringworm.
Well, thank you, thank you.
I move for approval.
Second.
Got a motion and a second to approve the acceptance of the donation of a woods lamp to detect ringworm for the Kerr County Animal Services Department. Any discussion?
Just this, that people donate things, whether it's money or whatever, and that doesn't dictate policy or use or anything. You've let go of it, and thank you, and we appreciate it. It's a good tool, but it doesn't mean that we have to use it every animal that comes in, or it doesn't change policy.
No.
But we thank you very much for it.
Yes, right now we're borrowing one, and the staff did think it would be beneficial to have this because it does help us get animals out to rescue quicker when we have that tool to confirm they're clear. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay, it's a little after 10 o'clock.
Call the motion.
Oh, haven't voted. Those in favor, raise your hand. Unanimous. We got it.
And thank you.
We're a little bit behind. If you'll notice on the agenda, beginning at item 1.15, we have timed items, and we're required to take those items as close to that time as possible. So the items 1.4 through 1.14, those items are all done by elected officials here at the county. I'm going to postpone those until we finish the timed items. I don't mean to inconvenience you, but it's better to inconvenience you than the public who's here thinking they're going to be heard at that time. So with that, I hope you understand. We're going to take a 5-minute break, and when we come back, we're going to start on item 1.15. Court will come back to order. We're going to move on to the timed items at 10 o'clock. We're a little late, but we're catching up. This is item 1.15, an update regarding the Ingram Police Department.
Judge, I just want to introduce a new police chief here. Hamilton has stepped down, and we have a new chief. He's going to kind of explain to you where they're at, what it looks like toward the future. Is that correct? If you can tell me a little bit about yourself, it'll be in good shape. Thank you.
Good morning, Judge, Commissioners, and audience. My name is Glenn Yankee, and my wife and I, Melissa, are getting ready to close on a house in Hunt, Texas. We've been staying out at a family home for the last year and a half. I'm a proud member of the Hunt Volunteer Fire Department. Also a retired Houston police officer where I worked 25 short years. Learned a lot, apparently. I met Chief Hamilton in late June after I read an article in the paper that the Ingram Police Department had quit. So I cold called Geraldine Rodriguez and then Mayor Jordan. Long story short, I got the job. Had to reactivate my police license and jump through a few hoops. Learned a lot. There's a lot of history. If you Google Ingram Police Department, it's not that great for PR purposes and hiring people. My dad was born and raised here, so I knew the speed trap back in the early 80s when I was driving up to our place in the Hunts. Always slowed down. I actually got stopped once and had to give someone a patch from my uniform shirt from Houston PD. I just want to say, since July 5th, it's been a challenge. I've been voluntold to do a lot of things. Although I am a police officer, I'm also, I guess, a public administrator. Geraldine Rodriguez abruptly resigned shortly after I started. We posted the job. We're going to appoint someone today, city secretary. We are headed in the right direction, and I know y'all heard that a year ago, and maybe 2 years ago. My goal is to try to stay there as long as possible. I'm not a quitter. I know that the challenge ahead is going to be very rigorous. The budget is complicated right now because basically the job of the city secretary was not done for several months. The good news is the police budget is going to be approved hopefully tonight at a special meeting, and my goal is to hire officers, to have them stay there rather than hire my best friends, come on, and we'll go to training and bolster our career and we can move elsewhere. I would like to reward the officers and have them stay for a year or two before we start spending money on training. Salary is much more important. I know the county just increased, across the board 5%, which made it even that much more difficult to hire someone to come out to Ingram. We have one officer today. We're going to offer him a job today, and hopefully he'll accept it. We have two that are in background investigation right now. One's from Washington State. He's contesting the state exam next week. He will be in the area soon and probably will be offered a job. He has 17 years experience. I wish I had more information to say. We're headed in the right direction is what I'm telling my officers and my coworkers. I'm telling their spouses and their kids. What we're doing right now is very tough. And it's very tough to do. We're going to be working long hours, but it's going to be well worth it. I've also cautioned the community at city council meetings that when we rip off a Band-Aid, it's going to hurt the community. There's been a lot of, I'm not sure if it's malicious incompetence or what, but with regard to our budget that was submitted last fall is almost fiction. I don't even know how they got it. So we've hired a forensic accountant to come in again, which seems to be another theme with the city of Ingram. The mayor and I actually have a pretty good working relationship. Y'all know Mayor Jordan, I believe y'all met before. I've told him a few times you can catch a lot of flies with honey, and it's better for maybe me to talk to somebody than for him to come talk, because he's very passionate about making Ingram a safe place that it used to be. And I am too. We're closing on a house in Canyon Springs, not too far away, about 5 miles west of there. So just give us a few months, and when I report back, I don't know how often I do this, I think it'll be great. The other thing I wanted to mention is the sheriff that I've met a few times. We've discussed the future and where we're moving. We're not looking back, as well as I've done the same with Chief Garcia at Ingram ISD. Apparently there hadn't been that much communication since that department got established. And that's kind of important because they're less than a mile away from where we are, especially with what happened in New Valley. We do have a plan. I'm very impressed with Kerr County law enforcement. I served briefly on the Kerr County Crime Stoppers Board of Directors, and I immediately saw how awesome law enforcement is in Kerr County. So it was easy for me to convince myself to get back into law enforcement and accept the challenge. Does anybody have any questions?
No, but I'll tell you, you got a great Ingram ISD as a sales tool for officers with families. They use that to lure them in. That always helps. Families who really want their kids to go to good schools, and you've got one there. So
That's
they'll
true.
be very supportive.
I would just say, welcome to Kerr County.
Thank you.
We have two incorporated municipalities in the county, and that's Ingram and the city of Kerrville. The Twin Cities, I guess, huh? In any event, we're here to work with you and help in any way we can. Welcome.
I'd like to comment on that. I've talked to the chief. There's been question of people in Ingram saying, we don't have any police. I want to assure them, we're stepping in on this role, and we are there to protect the citizens. Although, I have shared that, it's kind of we've got one guy on the west that handles that whole area, but we kind of prioritize our calls, and I guarantee the chief will help him until he can get full.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And I am learning how to say your name.
Sorry?
I am learning how to say your name.
Yankee. Actually, my dad was classic and tidy. We're from here, so thank you.
I had to learn these German names. Item 1.16 is the recognition of Omar Ortiz, who is a part-time temporary engineering technician for his outstanding work in the engineering and road and bridge departments. Charlie Hastings.
Thank you, Judge. Omar Ortiz worked in the engineering and road and bridge departments during the summer of 2022 as a temporary part-time engineering technician through an agreement with Schreiner University. During that span, he accomplished much with little to no oversight or instruction. Examples of his work are he learned to use Geographic Information System software, QGIS, and developed engineering construction plans using that software. He prepared engineering construction documents. He utilized software to accurately measure construction material quantities. He interacted with the public and solved customer problems. Archival and reorganization of department files. He attended development plan review meetings, assisted with construction inspection, assisted with development plan review, and other duties as assigned. That was all the real fun stuff right there. Omar is an international student from Mexico City, Mexico. This is his senior year at Schreiner University, where he is majoring in mechanical engineering. Omar, would you please stand and be recognized? Come up here real quick so they can also, your parents can see you on YouTube. Hopefully his parents are watching now. This is Omar Ortiz, and he was with us this year. He did a fabulous job. Omar, congratulations. Thank you for your hard work.
So I have a question, Charlie. What did you do while he was there?
Reviewed subdivisions.
There's been a little bit of that.
Yeah.
Thank you, Omar.
And I'll say this, anytime the guys take a liking to somebody, that S ain't a lie.
Yeah.
The next agenda item is 1.17. Consider, discuss, and take appropriate action on a request to abandon, vacate, and discontinue an approximately 900-foot portion of Stewart Junkin Road. Said road to be replaced with a different alignment approximately 150 feet east of its current intersection with River Road. Charlie Hastings.
A public hearing was held August 8, 2022. An adjacent property owner spoke against this proposed realignment, stating it affects his property. He said his property includes a 7-foot wide strip between the edge of the existing road and his property line. The developer contractor has submitted property deeds for some areas along the existing roadway. There is a defined right-of-way easement. It's volume 5, page 13. It is not in your packet. We found it this morning. It is right there. It can be handed out. And it's on the said adjacent property owner's property. That includes the 7-foot wide strip between the edge of the existing road and his property line. That is a right-of-way easement, volume 5, page 13. I believe it was filed in 1967. and it is right-of-way dedicated to Kerr County, Texas, for the free and uninterrupted use, liberty, and privilege of the passage in, along, upon, and across the following lands, etc., etc. And then it describes that it is a strip of land 30 feet wide, lying 15 feet on each side of the center line. And then it's not the center line of the road, it's the center line as described, beginning at a point 15 feet west of the east fence line, and then thence along a line parallel to and 15 feet west of the property fence. So it's very clear that there is right-of-way easement dedicated back in 1967 on the adjacent property owner who spoke against this, and that there is no gap between that right-of-way and the fence line. They're contiguous. They're right on top of each other. The county engineer requests the court consider, discuss, take appropriate action for a petition to abandon, vacate, and discontinue an approximately 900-foot portion of Stewart Junkin Road, subject to the construction of a replacement road with a different alignment, approximately 150 feet east of its current intersection with River Road, in conformance with the plans and specifications titled Stewart Junkin Road, signed and sealed by John M. Hewitt, PE number 66142, dated May 13, 2022. The existing Stewart Junkin Road alignment shall remain in full effect until such time the new alignment construction has been completed and accepted by the Commissioners Court, at which time the new right-of-way for said road and final acceptance of the road will be considered by the court. Final acceptance of the petition to abandon, vacate, and discontinue the road, as well as acceptance of the new road alignment and right-of-way, would be brought back to the court for consideration at a future court meeting, Precinct 4.
Well, we had a lot of discussion on it a couple weeks ago and what have you. Everyone pump the brakes and make sure all our T's are crossed and I's dotted, and then the more we looked into it, the more comfortable I am. I was comfortable then, I'm comfortable now, so I move for approval.
Second.
Got a motion and a second to approve moving the right-of-way for Stewart Junkin Road as presented in public meeting and again here today. Discussion.
County attorney.
Yes, but I'm inviting the court for their observations or discussions first.
Well, I just want it to be stated in plain terms what it means. For everybody, it only concerns 2 property owners, but it's instructive for everybody that these things are all over the county. So, Charlie?
There's a dedicated right-of-way, and the road would be realigned. Where it ties back in is slightly different. It puts a bend in the road within that right-of-way easement on the adjacent property owner.
So it didn't affect, the objection to it was that the adjacent property owner said he was being affected by that. It turned out he was not. It was not taking anything away from him.
It's not taking anything away.
Okay. That's what we want to make sure everybody understands.
The rules that allow y'all to abandon, discontinue, and vacate a road have been complied with, and this realignment provides for the alternate route that's also required by the rules. So I think all of the requirements have been satisfied.
So the county attorney's approved the realignment?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And there's one other
County
thing.
engineer.
Going back in and finding original documents is really important. I had a guy tell me this last week that he had a letter from the county, an agreement about a road that we're supposed to be taking care of, and I said, if you can produce that letter, it'll be a game changer for you. And I have not heard back from him. So a lot of this is family lore. A lot of what we deal with in Kerr County is grandpa told daddy and daddy told grandson, and we always believed it to be that way, but you got to have that proof.
There's one more document, the volume 87, page 310, and I believe this is the partition deed. When the property was bigger and it got partitioned and the road existed through there, there's a statement on page 312, about a third of the way down, that says that it is further agreed among the partitioners hereto that the holders of the above tracts of land as set out shall have a perpetual easement along, over, and across said road as the same now exists, or a road of equivalent convenience for the purpose of ingress and egress. This is a road of equivalent convenience, so it's in the deed that the road may change, but you'll always have a way in and out.
Okay. Mr. Holmgren, did you want to address the court?
My name is Jack Holmgreen, and I am the owner of that property that's adjacent that I gave some objection to last time. What I'm trying to do here is discuss the fact that the person who is developing this new road does not have any right to do anything on this particular easement. Easements are granted by the landowners to certain entities to do certain things, and that has been done. It's there and it's perfectly usable. It doesn't need to be changed. However, it's being changed by somebody that is not one of the entities that the easement was granted to. It's granted to the county. The county's not doing this work. An individual is. I thought that it would be easier if I would allow him to use my property to do his work until he said he's going to now donate all this to the county. An easement does not transfer title. It just grants use of the land. This guy doesn't have that privilege. I wanted to give him that privilege, and I have a lease that would allow him that one specific use exclusively. He could put his connection on my property. Since he has no authority to do it yet, I would give it to him. And it's very similar to the way an easement is granted. There is no transfer of title. I still own it. I'm just offering the use of it to a specific person for a specific reason. Now, I think that should be...
That's the $10,000 for 50 years?
Absolutely. That is 1/4 of what that size property would be leased for that period of time. That's what I do as a business. I have several properties. Kimball County, Kendall County, Kerr County, all of these are usually triple net leased. I wasn't having... This lease does not require him to pay the taxes or supply me with an insurance policy.
What part of his property are you trying to get him to lease?
The part that he wants to pave over.
At 7 foot?
Yes, by 150 feet long. It's 1,001 square feet. And he has no authority to do that. Now, the county can do it. The utilities can do it.
Show me a plat. I don't understand the 150 feet of this. What are you talking about?
The road is here, and he's coming in at a huge angle.
Get a plat. Get some paper here. This is important. Show it.
Well, I can show you. I have only these little tiny pieces. We showed the plat last time when I spoke.
Well, my understanding is, from listening to the county engineer and the county attorney, is that there is an existing easement that can be moved. The request is to move it, and we're okay with that.
But
what is he leasing from you?
The part that he wants to pave over.
Isn't that the part of the easement now?
Yes. It's part of the easement, but he has no authority to do anything in that but be on the road and transit. It's only the county or the utilities that have the right to use that easement. Not anybody that walks around can go put a fireworks stand on it or something. They can't do that. They don't have any authority.
Bring the road in to an existing easement.
So the part of the road that runs down the what is that, the east property line? Am I looking north here?
Yes.
Is going to be paved?
Yes.
Is it paved now?
There's pavement that does not go across that portion of the easement. It will have a curve in it now, so yes.
Okay. But the paved road that's going in is going to be either on the easement or allowed by the easement.
It's allowed by the easement, and it's in the easement.
And it is equivalent access that you want somebody to pay for.
I
that
want
they already have.
somebody to compensate me for taking that property and using it himself rather than the county. If the county wants to come in there and pave that and do the work, I have no objections whatsoever.
So you don't object to the paved road, you just object to who's doing it.
That's right.
And you want them to pay you $10,000 just to be able to pave the road.
To use that property for
Okay.
the next 50 years.
I think I understand. I think I understand what's going on here. Any other discussion? Did anybody else want to address the court? Okay. Anything else, Mr. Holmgreen?
Well, if you'd like to see a copy of the very simple arrangement that I was offering him.
We're not involved in that arrangement. That's between you and whoever, if you do it at all.
All right. Okay, excuse me.
Ms. Dowdy?
Is there going to be a court order prepared, or what is,
Yeah.
you know, because mine's just the minutes basically of what happens, but is there going to be something presented to me as far as?
Of course. There's got to be a legal document be filed in the deed records.
Fantastic.
Good.
And whatever else.
Any other discussion on this topic? We've got a motion and a second to approve it as it's been presented by our county engineer. Those in favor, raise your hand. Unanimous, 4-0. Thank you. Moving on to the next topic is item 1.18. Consider, discuss, and take appropriate action to set a public hearing for September 26, 2022 at 10 a.m. to name a 6/10 of a mile private access easement road off of 277, is that Hassenwinkel? Hassenwinkel Road, as it serves as the only access to the Hasselwinkel Road for all three lots of the 800-acre proposed Hall Ranch subdivision in the interest of public health, safety, and welfare, and as recommended by Kerr 911. Charlie Hastings, this is in Precinct 3.
Thank you, Judge. Hall Ranch is a proposed 800-acre, 3-lot subdivision off of Hassenwinkel Road in Precinct 3. A concept plan for this subdivision was presented to the court in December of 2021, a preliminary plat in February 2022. The construction plans are complete and the final plat has been prepared but lacks a Kerr 911 approved street name for the proposed 0.9 mile privately maintained road. It is proposed to be named Hall Ranch Road. This road connects to Hassenwinkel Road through a 6/10 mile long private access easement road that runs through the property located at 277 Hassenwinkel Road. Said private access easement road, although commonly referred to as Gillenshaw Road, is currently officially unnamed, which presents a public health, safety, and welfare issue concerning emergency services being able to locate the proposed subdivision road. If the existing private access easement road is formally named Gillenshaw Road, the developer of Hall Ranch will change the name of his proposed Hall Ranch Road to Gillenshaw Road also, as it is a continuation of the same road. County engineer recommends that the court set a public hearing for September 26, 2022 at 10 a.m. to name a 0.6 mile private access easement road, Gillenshaw Road. We're asking you to name it Gillenshaw Road. Said road is located at 277 Hassenwinkel Road, as it serves as the only access to Hassenwinkel Road for all three lots of the 800-acre proposed Hall Ranch subdivision in the interest of public health, safety, and welfare, as recommended by Kerr 911, Precinct 3. And I will add that I have spoken with Kurt Gillenshaw, who's the owner of 277 Hassenwinkel Road, and he'd be delighted for that to be named Gillenshaw Road.
Okay.
Since Commissioner Lett isn't here, I'll move for approval.
Okay.
I'll second that.
Got a motion and a second to approve the public hearing for the proposed Gillenshaw Road as presented. Any discussion? Those in favor? Unanimous. Next item is 1.19. Consider, discuss, and take appropriate action for the court to approve a final plat for Creekside at Camp Verde Phase 2 and accept bond number 0814615 in the amount of $1,271,784 for associated construction improvements. Kerr County Commissioners Court does not certify that complying with Kerr County water availability requirement ensures that the developer or prospective lot owner that adequate groundwater is available under any subdivision or lot. Mr. Hastings.
Thank you. A concept plan proposing 179 lots on a 1,039.84 acre tract was presented to the court on April 12, 2021. This final plat is for Phase 2 of the proposed subdivision, and it proposes 71 lots, greater than 5 acres each, with 5 roads. The final plat for Creekside at Camp Verde Phase 1, it was 103 lots on 589.5 acres, was approved February 14, 2022 by Court Order number 39197. Primary access to both phases will be from FM 480. All proposed improvements in the floodplain must meet floodplain regulations. Lot sizes were based on Kerr County subdivision rules and regulations. However, this subdivision, Phase 2, falls within Headwater Groundwater Conservation District's recently adopted East Kerr Management Zone, which now requires larger tracts for private wells. Section 5.01.d.2 of the Kerr County subdivision rules and regulations says, in part, complying with these requirements does not ensure the developer or prospective lot owner that adequate groundwater is available under any subdivision or lot. Kerr County water availability requirements do not reflect other requirements that may be placed on water usage by other entities. Note 15 on the plat, they placed a note on the plat, says Kerr County Commissioners Court does not certify that complying with Kerr County water availability requirements ensures the developer or prospective lot owner that adequate groundwater is available under any subdivision or lot. County engineer requests the court consider, discuss, and take appropriate action to approve a final plat for Creekside at Camp Verde Phase 2 and accept bond number 0814615 in the amount of $1,271,784 for associated construction improvements. Kerr County Commissioners Court does not certify that complying with Kerr County water availability requirements ensures the developer or prospective lot owner that adequate groundwater is available under any subdivision or lot. Precinct 2.
I move for approval.
Got a motion and a second to approve the final plat approval and accept the bond as presented for Creekside Camp Verde Phase 2. And just so that the public understands, and Charlie, we know that this is part of the transition from the existing subdivision rules that we're in the process of revising, and the fact that Headwaters Groundwater Conservation District has changed some of their regulations since this was originally approved. And whatever the Headwaters regulations are is not something that we determine. So, and this will be addressed in our revised subdivision rules. But because our existing subdivision rules allowed over 5 acre lot. And that's for platting purposes. But we don't have anything to do with permitting water. That's done by Headwaters. And so what this is a disclaimer to acknowledge that Headwaters has their own regulations with regard to permitting. And we're not guaranteeing that there's enough water under there for them to be able to do what they want to do. So this is the beginning of the new developments in Kerr County.
So is there a water source besides wells? Is there going to be?
Not that I know of.
Good morning. I'm Dan Mullins. I'm with Sutherland Communities with the developer here. And we actually did a water availability study here. We didn't have to because at the time when we bought the ranch, we had our master plan approved. We didn't have to do one. We did one anyways. And it took a couple months to get it done and get the report done. get it submitted to the groundwater district. It was submitted to the groundwater district. Actually got an email back saying it looked good. There's good groundwater here. And, where we are in the situation is groundwater district changed its rules. They did it as quietly as they possibly could, and as they told me, it was because, well, we didn't want you to find out because you could have gotten clout pretty little quicker. Well, if we hadn't done the groundwater availability study, we would have been a couple months ahead. It wouldn't have been an issue anyways. I'm just, where we are is they changed the rules. We asked for a variance to them. We didn't just ask for a variance to them. We didn't say we just want 5-acre tracts. We said if you will let us do 5-acre tracts, we'll make them be permitted wells. Now, a permitted well can be regulated during drought restrictions. When you look at the cap of what an exempt well can use, it's roughly 25,000 gallons a day. And what is it now in the current drought stage, guys? It's on a 5-acre tract. Rich, I know you know it to the fifth decimal. Was it 570 gallons a day, 600 gallons a day? It's significantly less. That's what we offered. We were told by the groundwater district, well, we can't do that because that's not the way we operate. My question for them is why not? If you've got somebody that's willing to develop with permitted wells, not exempt wells, where you can regulate it, why don't you take that? Because 5-acre tracts with permitted wells use a lot less water than 7-acre tracts with exempt wells. That's just me getting that part off my chest. We're in compliance with the county rules and ask that we approve the plat.
But you understand the dilemma we're in. And all we're doing is putting a disclaimer on your plat that you have issues with headwaters that we can't solve.
Yes, and they disapproved our variance request, and we appealed that. So that is not final.
You drilled 2 wells out there, didn't you?
Yes, you did.
Yeah.
We did.
You did the groundwater
They both showed about the same thing?
Yes, sir. I can't remember off the top of my head exactly what it was. It was something we sent in, probably a year ago to you guys in the groundwater district.
Yeah.
They're good wells.
We didn't require it, but you did it, and we appreciate it. But we don't control permitting. You understand that.
I understand that.
So we're not meddling in Headwaters business. I don't think they're meddling in ours either. But it's just the difference between platting and permitting. And I've been wondering how this was going to eventually get resolved. But what we have before us today is your request for us to go ahead and approve the final plat with this disclaimer put on it.
Yes, sir.
And accept your bond. Any other discussion about that? Anybody else want to speak? Okay. Very well. And those in favor, raise your hand. Unanimous. Thank you, Mr. Mullins.
Thank you.
And for those wondering what would happen if we hadn't approved it, we had 30 days to provide written notice of exactly what it is, and our subdivision rules did not qualify them to be able to have platted that property. And failing which, it is automatically approved. And so what we did was inevitable. We had to do it.
Our rule book, the existing rule book.
Well, I want to add one little note to this, and that is that you guys were throwing a curveball. You did everything that you should do, and we've actually, I think everybody here has used you all as an example of how to do it.
Yeah, you're the
and
poster
do it
child.
right. Yeah, you're the poster child for doing it right. And you got a little curveball thrown at you, but this demonstrates what's happening in Kerr County. The growth that we're going through, it's a faster pace than we're used to. We've got to make sure everybody has enough water. And if we don't have enough water, that hurts everybody, not just new developers. So it's growing pains. And you guys, got caught in it.
You're on the front line trench. But we're gonna get through it. We're gonna get
Well,
through
this
it.
is where they came up with that phrase, "No good deed goes unpunished." So, I'm just sorry, guys, to see it happen.
Okay, moving on. Item 1.20, consider, discuss, and take appropriate action for the court to approve a revision of plat for the reserve at Falling Water, lots 31R1 and 31R2. Mr. Hastings.
This proposal combines lots 31R1 and 31R2. They're currently 6.2 acres each into lot 31R3, 12.4 acres. Road frontage will remain on Painted Sky. County engineer requests the court approve a revision of plat for the reserve at Falling Water, lots 31R1 and 31R2, plat file number 18-06888, precinct 3. And the public hearing was conducted August 8, 2022.
I'll move for approval.
Got a motion and a second to approve a revision of plat for the reserve at Falling Waters as presented. Any discussion? Those in favor, raise your hand. Unanimous, 4-0. And the last timed item that we have at 10 o'clock, we're running behind as you can see, is to consider, discuss, and take appropriate action for the court to approve a revision of plat for RH Ranch Lot 9. Mr. Hastings.
This proposal revises part of Lot 9, 50.4 acres out of 99.5 acres as platted. Lot 9A will be 12.61 acres, Lot 9B will be 12.62 acres, and Lot 9C will be 25.17 acres. Frontage for all lots will remain on Vice Springs Road. County engineer requests the court approve a revision of plat for RH Ranch Lot 9, Volume 3, page 84, precinct 4.
Okay.
Got a motion and a second to approve the revision of plat for RH Ranch Lot 9 as presented. Any discussion?
Who moved the second?
Mr. Baloo? There being no discussion, those in favor, raise your hand. Unanimous. Okay, everyone that's got your agenda, we have finished the timed items, so we're going to go back to where we stopped before, which is at item 1.5 and 1.4. And I'm going to call those at the same, call 1.5 first, which is to consider, discuss, and take appropriate action to rescind court order number 39098, approving a lease agreement for a vehicle for Constable Precinct 4. Purchase was canceled by manufacturer.
Yes, sir. As the court knows, we've been getting back and forth about a vehicle for over a year. And this time last year, the court approved this court order number for a number that got changed back in December for delivery in May, which none of that ever happened. And so I'm asking that that court order be rescinded and come up along with the vehicle we got.
Okay, so we need to rescind an order.
And I move to approve, to rescind that order.
We got a motion and a second to rescind the order that we issued last year to lease the vehicle because it was canceled by the manufacturer. Any discussion? Those in favor, raise your hand. Okay, we got that part of it done, Brad. Now let's go to item 1.4, which is to consider, discuss, and take appropriate action on a request to purchase a new vehicle camera system to come out of the capital outlay fund allocated in the current budget for a new vehicle at $5,400 and an installation fee of $500. Constable Ryder.
Yes, sir. That money we just spoke of, I'd like to use that to purchase a new camera system for the vehicle. My current camera is the old DVD style, which is outdated for 1. 2, I can't hardly get the DVDs. 3, it just kind of on its own quit. So,
well, you're keeping the old truck, but you're going to put a new camera system in it.
Yes, sir. I do have a quote here from Motorola Solutions for a value of $5,355 for the grand total of the camera system. That it does not include installation. If this gets approved, I send them a PO. They send it here locally to Advantage, and Advantage says that they charge $95 an hour, anywhere from 4 to 6 hours for installation. So that's where in the motion, it shows approximately $5,400, installation is approximately $500, that's where those numbers come from.
Not to exceed.
Yes.
Not to exceed, okay.
And I believe if you needed, I think there's $6,286 in that allotted budget line, so just so you know.
Well, that's gonna be between you and the auditor, but it'll get worked out.
Well, I think we talked, but I just wanted the court to know where.
We understand.
Okay.
We appreciate you cooperating with us under these circumstances. We've got a motion and a second, don't we?
No, but I'll make a motion.
Got a motion, and Commissioner Blue seconded.
Not to exceed a certain amount, or?
Not to exceed,
Well, he's got a line, he's
That's
got a
right.
budget for
Yeah,
it.
he's got his own, it's in it not to exceed his existing budget.
Got it, okay.
Okay, those in favor, raise your hand. Unanimous. Thank you, Brad, we appreciate it. 1.6, consider, discuss, and approve, consider, discuss, and take appropriate action on ordering the general election for November 8, 2022. Mr. Reeves.
Good morning, gentlemen. As we approach the general election, I respectfully request the court to order an election for the purpose of electing county and precinct officers as required by sections 3.004 and 3.005 of the Texas Election Code. This will include the 198th District Judge, the County Court at Law Judge, District Clerk, County Treasurer, County Surveyor, County Commissioners from Precincts 2 and 4, the Justice of the Peace for Precinct 1, 2, 3, and 4, and Constable Precinct number 3 unexpired term. Early voting will be held at the Hill Country Youth Event Center, and for now the Ingram ISD Administration Building, as it's known right now. Early voting will be held on October 24th through 28th. That's Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. Saturday, October 29, 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. Then from October 31 through November 4, 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. I respectfully request the court to order such election and the county judge to sign such order.
Move for approval.
Second. Got a motion and a second to approve ordering the general election for November 8, 2022. Any discussion? Those in favor, raise your hand. Unanimous, 4-0. Yeah, don't move, Bob. 1.7, consider, discuss, and take appropriate and approve the appointment of election judges and alternates for the term of 1 year in accordance with the Texas Election Code, Section 32. Mr. Reeves.
Yes, sir, Judge. Just as you cited the code, in your backup material is a list of the judges. The judges are appointed by the party which is in control of the governor's office. The alternate judges are appointed by the other party. And in your backup material, all of the judges have been submitted to our office by the Republican Party. There are still, it looks like 5 alternate judges to be named later, but at this time, I would like the court to approve such appointments.
Move for approval.
Second.
Got a motion and a second to approve the appointment of the election judges and alternates for a 1-year term as presented. Any discussion? Those in favor, raise your hand. Unanimous. Moving on to 1.8. Consider, discuss, and approve the polling locations in accordance with Chapter 43 of the Texas Election Code for the November 2022 election.
Yes, sir. In your backup material, we'll have 20 polling places in the November general election. I would like to point out all of them, with the exception of precinct 119, would be the same as on the March primary. Precinct 119 will be moving from the Inn of the Hills to the Riverside Church of Christ. I would like to thank Commissioner Baloo for giving us some possible locations, and this one worked out very good, and I think it will be a good location. In addition, I've already mentioned the 2 early voting locations. I respectfully ask the court to approve such.
Move for approval.
Second.
Got a motion and a second to approve the polling locations as presented. Any discussion? Those in favor, raise your hand. Unanimous, 4-0. 1.9, consider, discuss, and take appropriate action to approve the Central Counting Station personnel pursuant to Chapter 127.005 of the Texas Elections Code. Mr. Reeves.
Yes, sir. As noted in the agenda item, the presiding manager of the Central Counting Station will be Nadine Alford, the judge Linda Bowman. The alternate judge has not been appointed yet by the respective party. Tabulating supervisor Cynthia Tejeda, assistant tabulating supervisor Anna Toka. The clerks Mimi Valverde, Cindy Hernandez, Teresa Walker, Julie Laura. The clerks for the Secretary of State data entry, Miss Yanders, Jamie McClintock, the website and IT, Bruce Motherall. Respectfully ask the court to approve such.
Move for approval.
Second.
Got a motion and a second to approve the Central Counting Station personnel as presented. Any discussion? Those in favor, raise your hand. Unanimous, 4-0.
Thank you, gentlemen.
As you leave, Bob, I want to thank you for all you've done to get us ready for the election and the work that's coming up. I know, and I want to acknowledge Nadine Alford and send her to the podium so the public can see her face, because this is the brains behind the whole show.
Thank you.
She did a pretty good job of hiding until you called her out.
Well, you know, today's been good for us because we've had a chance to recognize some of our employees, and we don't get to do that often. And let me tell you, Kerr County employees are the best in the world. They truly are. I can't tell you how dedicated they are and how much we appreciate what they do for us. All of them. That's my 2 bits worth.
Amen.
Moving on to item 1.10. Consider, discuss, and take action to approve revised payroll schedule for FY 22-23.
What I gave Jody is actually wrong, so
No.
if you can use this one, that'd be good. Good morning.
Good morning.
This is just to change the next year's fiscal pay date schedule, same as we did when we adjusted this year's a couple weeks ago to allow for the first payday in September of 2023 to not have any health insurance deductions while open enrollment figures are calculated. So rather than having it be the third payday that we don't deduct, it's the first payday.
And this is really to accommodate our employees and people who are getting paid and not put extra burden and hardship on them.
Correct.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the revised fiscal year 22-23 pay date schedule. Any discussion? Those in favor, raise your hand. Unanimous, 4-0. Thank you, Ms. Sullivan. 1.11, consider, discuss, and take appropriate action to approve the Kerr County investment policy. That's Texas Government Code 2256.005E. And the broker-dealer list for Kerr County's investment policy in accordance with the Public Funds Investment Act, which is Texas Government Code 2256.005K. Ms. Sullivan.
Yes, sir. I have to bring this investment policy to you annually. I did make some updates to it. If you want to follow along, I have some bullet points. I'll tell you. Page 2, I changed yield. Page 2, 3D, I changed the yield, changed to the weighted average maturity from 6 months to 9 months. Page 3, 4A, operating funds and commingled pools, changed the maximum weighted average maturity from 6 months to 9 months. Page 3, 4B, debt service funds, again, changed max weighted average maturity from 6 months to 9 months. Page 5, 9B, authorized investments, changed 12 to 24 months. Page 6, 9H, authorized investments, changed 1 year to 2 years to match that 9B. And then page 7 added including letters of credit and the Federal Home Loan Banks to the authorized collateral section for time and demand deposits. And then also on page 9, change length of time to go out for depository bids from 5 years to 6 years. I don't know where that 5 years came from because it's actually 4 or 6 years. So by changing it to 6 years, I can go out more frequently if we need to, but 6 years is the max. So these changes really are the first changes are really to allow me to look at longer term investments in case rates are higher in a lower rate market.
Well, with the economic conditions today and the fluctuation in rates, going out for longer periods of time seems prudent to me.
Yes, sir.
A little bit better average.
Inverted rate curve.
So I'll make a motion that we go ahead and approve the investment policy and the broker-dealer list for Kerr County investment policy as presented.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any discussion? Those in favor, raise your hand. 4-0, unanimous.
Thank you.
You're so controversial, Ms. Solden. Okay, moving on to item 1.12. Consider, discuss, take appropriate action to approve the interlocal agreement between Kerr and Kinney County for jail services and allow the county judge to sign same. Sheriff.
Yes, okay, Commissioner Court and Judge, the following two will be pretty similar, just different counties. I'm asking you all to approve an interlocal cooperation agreement between Kerr and Kinney County to house their prisoners. We're starting to get a lot more requests. This is at the new rate of $65. Actually, they already have some more. We're just going to be raising the rate in October. So just need to see if I can get you all to approve that.
Okay.
Move for approval.
Second.
Got a motion and a second to approve the interlocal agreement for jail services with Kinney County. Any discussion? Those in favor, raise your hand. Unanimous. 1.13, consider, discuss, and take appropriate action to approve the interlocal agreement between Kerr County and Blanco County for jail services and allow county judge to sign same. Sheriff.
Pretty much exact thing. Since we're going up, we need to see if y'all can approve this and get it signed. We'll be taking, like I said, all of our out-of-county inmates up to $65 an hour effective October 1, just like with Kinney County.
Move for approval.
Second.
A motion and a second to approve the agreement with Blanco County for jail services as presented. Any discussion? Those in favor, raise your hand. Unanimous, 4-0. Item 1.14, consider, discuss, and take appropriate action to approve the proposal to the agreement for inmate health care services between Kerr County and WellPath LLC and allow the county judge to sign same. Sheriff.
Yes, Commissioners Court and Judge, we have services with WellPath. We've got a 5-year contract, but in the contract every year it goes up 3.5%. So that's pretty much what this is, raise it. We do have it in the budget. The county attorney has looked at this and approved it. So it's just a rate, and like I said, it raised and it is in the budget.
Move for approval.
Second.
Motion and a second to approve the agreement for inmate health care services with WellPath as presented. Any discussion? Those in favor, raise your hand. Unanimous, 4-0.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sheriff. Okay. Turn page to item 1.22. That's where we're picking up after the timed items. That is to consider, discuss, and take appropriate action regarding any changes to the proposed Kerr County budget for fiscal year 22-23. Ms. Shelton.
Yes, we may have a few changes that we're looking at. We've heard from the Medina County for the PDO contribution. It's going to be $359,000 roughly, so that will be some savings that we'll put in there. Probably moving it to the payroll contingency line item might be what I would recommend rather than lowering the budget, so it will not have any change on the net effect. I know the magistrate position, we had it at part-time, And so it's gonna have to go to full-time, so we'll need to add benefits for that. So that's gonna eat into some of the savings that we see with the PDO.
And before you get away from that, we had a meeting last week with the prosecutors, all the judges, everybody, all the JPs, county attorney, and we talked about this Damon Allen Act, SB 6. And I'm not going to say consensus, the unanimous decision of the group was that half-time magistrate can't do that job. It's going to have to be a full-time. And that affects the budget. And it was I thought it was a very instructive and thorough discussion of what services have to be provided by that SB 6, which again is unfunded mandate that we're having to deal with. I didn't mean to interrupt. I just wanted people to understand we have to adjust the budget because the legislature tells us we got to do things that we got to find the money to do it. So
I'm glad you said it because I was going to ask.
yeah,
so.
that's it. I'm sorry, Ms. Shelton, please continue.
The other ones are probably more minor. We're still working with HR and looking at the position schedule, getting it firmed up. There's about probably a handful that we have on there that we're still discussing.
Is there any action we need to take today?
There's not.
Okay, thank you. Let's move on to item 1.23. Consider, discuss, and take action to accept the order setting the salaries for the county auditor and the assistant county auditors pursuant to the Texas Local Government Code, section 152.031, and that the effective date be October 1, 2022. This is just routine? We do it every year?
This is routine. The public hearing was held on August the 8th, and you have before you the district judge's order for the salaries.
And again, so the public understands what we're doing. The county does not hire the county auditor. The district judges hire the county auditor to watch us. And so that's why it's signed by the district judge. So do we have a motion to approve?
For approval.
Second.
Got a motion and a second to approve the county auditor and assistant county auditor salaries as presented and effective October 1, 2022. Any discussion? Those in favor, raise your hand. Unanimous. Moving on to item 1.24. Consider, discuss, and take appropriate action to accept the order setting the salaries for the 198th District Court Reporter and the 216th District Court Reporter.
Yes, the public hearing was held on August the 8th, and you have before you the district judge's orders for the 198 and the 216 court reporters.
And this is a ditto. It's just like what we do with the auditors. They are county employees, but they are hired by the district judges. So,
Move for approval.
Second.
got a motion and a second to approve the court reporter salaries as presented for the 216th and the 198. Any discussion? Those in favor, raise your hand. Unanimous. Okay. Thank you, Ms. Shelton. Moving on, item 1.25. Consider, discuss, and take appropriate action regarding the agreement for the lease of school district-owned property between Kerr County and Ingram Independent School District for FY 22-23. Commissioner Harris.
Yes, our current lease for the West Kerr Annex is up at the end of September. In talking to them, they wanted to go up basically 10% on a building that we've all been criticizing for a while, but we never had another option. And with Ingram ISD moving their central office to another location, I got talking to Superintendent Bobby Templeton, and we started thinking that this would be a good arrangement for both parties. We would have a lot more parking, a lot more room. We would be able to bring the sheriff's office into the campus, and the school district really liked that, more of a presence by our SO over there.
For them to have an office though,
Yeah,
not
exactly.
to move the office.
No, but just have, yeah, you're right, thank you for clarifying that. It's ADA compliant, which we weren't at the old location. It's a great partnership between the county and Ingram ISD. Their board approved this arrangement last Monday and agreed to give it to us for $1 a year we pick up maintenance and utilities, and it's a win-win for both parties. So I move for approval.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Discussion. Just so the public understands, what we've got is an inadequate facility now that we lease for, and it will be, what, $2,000 a month? Ballpark?
They were wanting 1975
Yeah, right at 2,000.
from 1,800 a month.
That is totally inadequate, and it's not ADA compliant. And it's the reason that we have part of this bond issue is trying to get a building that we can put the JP and the constable, as well as the sheriff's office and the tax office, in what I call a livable working space, a proper working space. And when Ingram ISD vacated their administrative buildings up there on the hill, they're empty. I think they have IT out there, don't they?
They still have IT and two other offices they want to maintain with outside entrances.
But it's a very large facility, very spacious for us to be able to do this. And this is a collaboration between local governments, and it's good for them and it's good for us. They need somebody to maintain it, take care of it. We can do that, and we think it's going to be probably less expensive to do that than it is to keep doing what we've been doing, paying the rent over at the other place. Sure. And it will be secure. We can actually lock it up. I give out all our secrets, but we've got real problems at this other facility.
Hey, there's a separate restroom, men and women.
Yeah.
Wait, it saves the county money.
It saves the county money. And the county attorney reviewed the lease and she approved it, so we're good to go. I'm
really pleased to have the county sheriff's presence out there too. That's great.
Yeah.
Well, it's we have, the sheriff has several officers out living out that area that work that area, and rather than driving all the way across town to do their computer work and stuff, then driving back. It helps. Go ahead.
Yeah, been out there several times with Commissioner Harris. Yeah, we intend on having an office for a deputy and also investigator interview room. And they won't be there 24/7, but we have the capability to be able to work from that side of town and do stuff. So it'll help on our response time big time. Especially while we're helping Ingram right now. That's what's going to help the most.
Yeah, this could have used it over the weekend.
Well, I was going to tell you, I wouldn't remember that. We really could have used the facility instead of going back town on the weekend and called Don, but we did something else.
This is a win-win all the way around. And it's almost too good to be true, but it is, and so let's take advantage of it.
Don't say that.
Okay, let's take a vote. Those in favor, raise your hand. Unanimous. Item 1.26, consider, discuss, and take appropriate action regarding the 2023 Kerr Central Appraisal District budget. When there's nobody else's name to put on it, they put mine. But there you are.
Come on, you gotta say my name.
Constantinides.
Hey, you're doing good. How are y'all doing this morning?
She taught me this last year, and when I started getting stuff from her on the appraisals, I practiced it in my office. It's not an easy name to say.
No, it wasn't easy for me when I first married him either. Especially printing, spelling it. I had to put the card in front.
And I surprised you, didn't I?
Yes, you did. Yes, you did. Yes, you did. I'm asking for the commissioners to approve my budget for next year. The overall increase is 4.14%. Some of my biggest increases have to do with postage and printing, which again has to do with state mandates that I'm required to do also, the additional mailings and stuff.
Welcome to our world.
Yes. Salaries, I was able to make adjustments by reallocating because I had some people leave. And I'm trying to make us more competitive with the ones around us, like Bandera, Kendall, and Gillespie, for like the chief appraisers. And I'm still below what they're paying because they're giving car allowances too. But anyway, y'all have any questions?
I move that we approve the KCAD budget as presented.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any discussion?
I'm just surprised we're behind Bandera, so just for the record.
What they just started their new guy up. His package is $128,000.
My goodness.
No
Okay.
chief appraiser experience.
Okay, let's take a vote. Those in favor, raise your hand. It's approved.
Thank you so much.
Next item is item 1.27, consider discuss process for hiring interim human resources director. Commissioner Letts talked to me about this before he left, and what we need to do is probably put together a committee to oversee that process and report back to the, or he suggested we put together a committee and report back to Commissioner's Court.
Now, I understood we had headhunters looking for somebody, and we were gonna bring in the candidates and talk to them. Is that not?
I think we have to, I think he's given us a choice of candidates, and we get to choose who we want to interview.
Right.
And so somebody needs to
So
make
how
that-
does this enhance that?
But has somebody vetting out the people that he's recommended.
Didn't we hire somebody to do that?
This is for that person that this is to nail down the interim, who will serve until you pick up permanent. And I don't think
we
that
hired somebody to do that.
that's this person. They have, y'all have the final say in who they found.
Right.
So it looks like they have a few options for you, and y'all get to say who gets that spot.
Okay, I gotta look at this again then. We're gonna have
Go back up on that.
I mean, we can wait.
discuss
Mr.
the
Letts gets back.
process. Didn't you just say we'd have a committee to do that?
Well,
We are the
that's-
committee that does that.
Well, I'm passing along the discussion I had with Commissioner Letts, who is the liaison commissioner for HR, who said that we have a number of recommendations.
Right.
And we're talking about having somebody review those and make recommendations to the court. But if you want to do that, we don't have to do that. Well, we can put it off till he gets back.
I'm sure he's just trying to cull the herd maybe, but I get that.
Well, I think what he wants to do is to have some of the people that work closest with the HR director, like the county attorney and our county treasurer, for example, work with them on a regular basis. And they're going to probably have more insight, and they're not part of the court. So
Well, that makes sense.
I can go along with that.
Yeah.
So, county attorney, county treasurer, I'm looking for head nods, willing to do that. And we ought to put somebody from the court with them, so who wants to volunteer? Let's put Letts on it. He's absent.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
That's
his
I take
idea.
that back.
That is county culture, I can tell you right now. He who is not here gets appointed.
What about a couple of our large departments like the SO and Road and Bridge? We want a representative from them.
I'm fine with that.
Yeah, we're not limited on a number.
Right.
No.
And that would still give you.
So you want to put a rep from Road and Bridge and a rep from KCSO? I'm good
All
with
right
that.
with you?
Okay with that?
You guys?
Yes.
Okay. I'm all in favor of delegating whatever we can delegate. 1.28, consider, discuss, and take appropriate action regarding the VA Trails project. Commissioner Gibson.
This comes under the category of, I think, last meeting, Commissioner Letts said, Mr. Gibson, this is your first and last budget. I let this slide by and didn't understand the process, didn't have it in the process, so it should have been in here a little bit earlier. When Commissioner Mosier left, he left me with this plan. I really appreciate it. It is a plan to enhance the mobility of wheelchair parties out of the VA to where they can safely cross. And Charlie Hastings is really more involved in it than I have been. I actually, whenever I took over here as Commissioner of Precinct 2, I appointed Mr. Mosier to kind of stay on top of this project. And he actually was prepared and had some papers submitted for ARPA funds. So really the most knowledgeable person that we have on this, especially since Mr. Mosier is now out of state in New Mexico until October, is Charlie Hastings. And I'll let Charlie take it from there.
Thank you, Beck. So this would be a joint county, city, TxDOT, Altonado Nursery, and VA project. There's existing sidewalks here and there. It's a little sketchy. And and patrons of VA can make their way down to Highway 27 now, and they can cross Highway 27. But once they get across, it's really rough for them to go anywhere. If they go through Tucker Road, which is a city road that goes through Maldonado's nursery area, and Maldonado's operating on both sides of that road, it's rough going. This project would just hem all that up and give VA patrons an opportunity to safely and efficiently make their way to Flatwater Park, or even to the trail system, which is down across the old Legion Drive, Legion Crossing. And it's estimated $250,000.
Do they have to cross the bridge to get to the other?
Yes,
to the trail?
part of the reason for the budget of $250,000 is because we don't know exactly. There are multiple parties as to whether the city cooperates with us. At one point, they were real close to having this all together. TxDOT has approved enhancing the light in the crossing. The city was on board at one time, and it's kind of vague now as to they can resurrect or allow us to at least enhance the street all the way down Riverside Drive, all the way down to their old low water bridge crossing. So we put in a fairly liberal budget because we're not quite sure what we're going to do. We wanted a little bit of latitude on that. We know that we can do what our part is for much less than that, but that's the reason. There are a lot of parts that were all set, and then they got just kind of stopped, and trying to get that thing back into motion.
Well, that's my understanding. They were gonna, it was kind of a split deal at one point, wasn't it? Am I correct in thinking that, between us and the city?
Well, it's multiple parties. It's the
Yeah.
TxDOT, it's the VA, it's the nursery, it's the city, it's the county.
I'm trying to get it back going to where we can start negotiating with those people again to get it going again. That's why I'm bringing it up.
Negotiation, I don't like putting a whole bunch of money in there and say, well, y'all go ahead. You know, I don't want it to come down to that.
I'll just put it this way: if it came to the county doing it all, and we got the ability to go to the river trail, I'd be for it. So
It's used a lot. I see those
Yes.
guys crossing the road down there, and it's
that's
nice.
the other part, is that they're doing it anyhow. This could make it a lot safer and a lot more enjoyable.
Well, I've seen them with little dogs on their laps. Right. I mean, it's,
Cruising across.
yeah. But this would be something that we could at least put a placeholder in the budget with the ARPA funds and renew and see if we can't get this thing going again, I think is what Mr.
Yeah.
Gibson is really saying. And while we have that opportunity, I think we probably ought to do it. At least take a look at it.
Move for approval.
Second.
Ms. Shelton?
Just to make sure I'm understanding, I need to go ahead and put this in for the ARPA funds for an additional $250,000 expenditure.
If we approve this, yes,
Okay.
that's right. So it's not going to affect the budget.
Yeah.
But this is at least using the money that's sitting in account that's not being used at all, at least putting it out there to hopefully get everybody back to the table to try to complete this project, because it's a very worthwhile project. And if we don't spend the money, then the money stays in the dedicated fund where it is now.
Right.
So, you making a motion?
Yes.
And I second it.
We've got a motion and a second to approve reviving the VA Trails project as a joint endeavor with TxDOT, the VA, Maldonado's Nursery, and the City of Kerrville. Any other discussion?
Well, I'd just like to see vigorous negotiation.
Sure. Certainly.
Okay.
Okay. Those in favor, raise your hand. Unanimous. Okay, let's quickly go through the approval agenda. 2.1 are the budget amendments.
Yes, you have 18 budget amendments in front of you. The very first one was just, it's a revenue, and it was just posted backwards the first time. The second budget amendment there is to cover the retiree health insurance, and that is the only one of these adjustments that are coming out of contingency funds. The rest are interdepartmental, or at least elected official funds.
I move for approval.
Second.
Got a motion and a second to approve the budget amendments as presented. Any discussion? Those in favor, raise your hand. Unanimous, making sure. 2.2, pay the bills.
Yes, invoices for today's consideration, $1,133,535.07.
I move for approval.
Second.
And a motion and a second to approve the bills as presented. Any discussion? Those in favor, raise your hand. Unanimous, 4-0. Late bills,
They're not any.
auditor reports,
They're not any.
monthly reports.
Yes, a long list for July 2022. County Auditor's Report, County Shelton. I move for approval.
Second.
I was leaning back getting ready. We got a motion and a second to approve the reports as presented. Any discussion? Those in favor, raise your hand. Unanimous. Court orders.
Yes, I'm reviewing for our absent commissioner, and it's court orders 39454 through 39474 from Monday 8/8/22 regular meeting, and court orders 39475 through 39478 from Monday 8/15/22 special meeting. I have a question on one, and I want to call on you guys to help me with this, my memory. Order number 39457, child safety fee and county road and bridge fee for 2023 vehicle registration. Okay, we had a split vote. I remember that is 3-2. Let me read it. It shows that Commissioner Letts made motion, seconded by Commissioner Baloo. The court order was approved by a vote of 3-0. Judge Kelly and Commissioner Harris voted against it. I'm not sure. Was that right?
What?
For the child safety fee, remember it's $1.50.
Yeah.
You voted against it, I
I
voted
voted
against it.
That's
what
why I
thought.
remember it.
Yeah.
Okay, in the court order, it says that Judge Kelly voted against it.
No, that's not true.
No, that's not
It
good.
also showed that Commissioner Blue seconded Letz's motion.
I don't think that's the case.
I don't remember that.
I don't either. When you said that, I don't remember that.
I'll review the video.
Okay?
Okay.
Just double
Yeah.
check.
All right.
Yeah.
You said-
So,
Go ahead.
with, I did think that Harley and I voted against it.
Right.
And everybody else voted
Yes.
for it. So, if you could make those corrections, I move for approval of the court order.
Can we go over the, report? Sorry, go ahead.
Do we want to approve it as we've discussed the revision here, or do we want to just wait and?
With her review of the.
Of who
Subdivision,
seconded,
okay.
because I don't remember one way or the other.
I did think that you and I voted against it. did.
But I don't remember who seconded. That was what you.
Yeah, that's
Yes.
minor complaint.
Well, let's just get it double checked.
Yeah,
The exception of that court order?
Pardon?
Your-
Right.
or with
Yeah.
your video correction.
Oh, okay, okay. Perfect.
So we've got a motion, and I need a second
A second.
to approve the orders as presented with that one correction. Okay.
Okay.
Any discussion? Those in favor, raise your hand. Unanimous. Information agenda. Status reports from department heads. I see one there.
Boy, he couldn't wait.
Boy.
He's a pace out there.
I just wanted to give you guys some information regarding some comments that you heard this morning. We at Kerr County Animal Services do not have any issue whatsoever at this time. There is no food issue. We didn't have a food issue.
How do you reckon that information floated around?
Well, I think that what must have happened, and I don't know this individual, but we did not put out any plea for any food, okay? As per standard operating procedure that's been set up over about a 5-year period, Kerrville Pets Alive asks us to let them know when we need something. Well, my adoption coordinator, as far as I know, contacted Kerrville Pets Alive and said, hey, we could use some puppy food we're going to love. A non-emergency, but letting them know that we needed something. Now, Kerrville Pets Alive put something out on the internet because their food pantry is getting low. But what I need everybody to know is what Kerr County Animal Services does and what Kerrville Pets Alive does is two very different things. Just because they put something online, and I want the public to know that as well, that's not us asking for that. I want the court to know that I, as long as I'm in charge here, will never let us run out of food. I'm not cruelly treating animals. I'm not neglecting them. We are providing for the basic care of these animals. And if we ever got into a situation where we were low on food, I would personally go and buy some.
Did the newspaper that published this information ever call you and ask you to verify it?
To be honest with you, I don't even know what you're talking about. I haven't seen anything.
The lady that spoke today claimed that the newspaper had a letter or an editorial about this. So I'm asking on the record if they ever called to try to verify it with you.
I found out about this when you did. Nobody's called me.
Yeah.
I heard it.
So all this continued nonsense and misinformation about the animal services in Kerr County is perpetuated and is being perpetuated by people apparently that claim to be our friends and in cooperative effort with us. And so they're straining the relationship as far as I'm concerned. I'm speaking strictly for me, but I think the relationship is getting strained if they don't control the misinformation on their end.
Well, and I mean, I don't want to come down on them too hard for this because it was, to me, in my opinion, what I know and what I've seen, their post was innocent. It just, they would like some more donations for their food pantry. They don't just give us food. They provide food for other people that need it.
Sure.
If your animal needs food and you can't afford it, to my knowledge, you're able to contact Kerrville Pets Alive and they can probably help you out with some food. So it's not just us. It's not mismanagement or under budgeting. Everybody's having a problem with their budget right now. Yes, things are tight, but I can promise you if we got to a situation, my staff will come together, we'll figure that out. We'll come up with money, I'll pay for it. We're not gonna let these animals starve. So that being said, that's not the way I operate. I'm not cruelly treating animals and that's not happening.
Well, just to be clear, the person who made that comment was a member of the public and made it during the public input portion of the agenda. It was not a authorized representative of Kerrville Pets Alive.
Yes.
Later in the agenda, we did have a specific item with regard to the ringworm lamp that was presented by Kerrville Pets Alive, and Ms. Guerrero was here along with Ms. Sandy, and they are the authorized representatives. And so that was just the mistaken opinion of one member of the public.
I wish they'd corrected it.
Well,
nobody
they were here.
But we can't do it. It's the input. We can't say anything.
They can say what they darn well want to when they get up to the podium.
Oh, you think?
Throw it against the wall, and then the retractions.
This is why I stuck around.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, and we appreciate that. And I think we've got that cleared up for the public.
I'm glad you came back to.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Well, they're giving us the ringworm light today. Demonstrates that they want to help. They're always cooperating. They're trying.
Well, I can tell you,
it's hard to stay on point with your message and control people in your organization.
Animal services, and I know in my case, I can just speak to mine. We cooperate and get along with Kerrville Pets Alive,
Right.
and help one another. So it's a symbiotic relationship, and I don't think they were the source of the misinformation. Is what I'm trying to clear.
I hope not.
I don't know where it came
I don't
from.
want you guys to think that I'm saying that either.
And we acknowledge that.
But I want y'all to know everything is okay over there.
Okay. Thanks, Ray.
Thank you.
Any other department heads? Let's move on to status reports from elected officials.
Commissioner, Judge, I know it's been a long day, I want to get out of here, but I'm going to take some of the judge's advice here and update you on a little something that's not related to any of that.
It's about time.
Start today, I told you earlier.
Can you say that again? He likes it.
So we can keep you here through lunch. So, no, just a few things. I want to share an incident we had this weekend. I was on the phone with Don all weekend. He kind of knew what was going on. Started Friday night with a runaway 10-year-old. This is the second time in the last few months. We had all hands on deck with that. We ended up finding her later on that evening and returned her home. But in addition to that, we received information of 2 homicide suspects in the area. And we kind of acted on it that night with the limited information we had. We stayed out pretty late, unable to locate the vehicle, but we had the address. We got on it the next morning. Vehicles there, so we know something's going up. I don't want to share all of our measures we use, but anyway, did some more traditional surveillance on it all day. Kind of started calling out reinforcements throughout the day because these are two dangerous individuals. Homicide was from Green Bay, Wisconsin. So we sit on it. One of my guys sees one of the suspects come out. What we're doing at that time, we're preparing for a search warrant. We're able to see him come in and go out. We're going to execute a search warrant, or we're able to find out a phone we're looking for is in there. Do some measures. We're going to serve a search warrant. But we actually see the guy come out, and we were set up for that. Guy gets in, gives a hug to his girlfriend. She gets in the other side. They leave. I make the call. Let's not stop them in the subdivision. Let's stop them once they get out on Junction Highway. Unfortunately, they took a quick turn on a road. And they get to a residence, but we were in position. Kerrville PD was on board. I'll kind of explain that a little bit. Goes to a residence, and we're able to make a felony stop on the guy. The guy does not exit the vehicle. He's on the phone. One of my SRT guys break out the window. They help him to the ground, take the phone out of his hand. Do we think he was talking to the brother? Let him know. Yeah, we'll talk about that in a minute. But we take the guy in custody, take the girl in custody. She had several warrants. We were doing some additional charges on some dope she had. So at that time, we think the brother's in the house. We know he's in the house. Unfortunately, later we find out different. But anyway, so we prepare to do a search warrant, draw up a search warrant. We execute it. I have to thank Kerrville PD, their special operations unit, the patrol, the chief, all came out on something like this. So we go to execute the search warrant. It's my first time to do this kind of search warrant. As I say, law enforcement is changing, today. So in this particular one here, we basically, the PD supported us in the back. The SO came in from the front. But we did what's different. We kind of did a breach and announce. Normally in my time, we used to just hit the door and go in. But we breach the door, we throw a flashbang, we back out. We get on the PA system. I've had a lot of questions from the public. Why did you do it or what did you do? We then announce 3 different times, sheriff's office, you have a search warrant, leave the residence, come out of the residence. After a certain amount of time, we then break all the windows out and gas the house. That's kind of the new trend today. We gas the house, give them ample time to come out, and at a certain time, when nobody come out, we made entry, cleared the house, nobody was in the house. In there, we call it like a stash house, just blow up mattresses, people aren't really living in there, so subject wasn't in there. People ask me, my personal opinion, he has nothing holding him here. That house, we have that uncle in jail on unrelated charges to go back to Green Bay, nothing to do with this. But we find out the girl that was here, the girlfriend of the other guy we got, was here to pick him up and take him to Mexico. So that's probably where they were going to end up in the next couple of days. I do think the brother got a phone call, he ran out. We're using all the measures we can to find out. But what I want to do is I want to thank, this was a big team effort for us. The chief was out, KPD Special Operations. We had all hands on deck. I ruined a bunch of weekends, including mine. It was over a 72-hour stretch, but all my guys come out. This is a collateral duty. They don't get paid. What do I have to deal with now? The public knows I got to deal with comp time. I got to deal with overtime. But on something like this, I don't care. It's all hands on deck. We took a very dangerous guy off the street this weekend. We're looking for the other one, but at least, this goes back to Kerr County is a safe place. It will continue to be a safe place. We'll do everything we can, but really take my hat off to the chief. I mean, you know, he's got his own issues of overtime. I mean, he's got guys that live in San Antonio, and, you know, like I said, it was over a 72-hour ordeal, but, you know, at the end of the day, we got the guy in jail, and that's all that counts. So really appreciate and want the public to know that. Second thing, Judge, you were correct on the 26 people in jail this morning. What I did, I got the list right here. 21 of those are ours, our arrests, and the other 5 are other counties from arrest, but, you know, luckily they're paying the $65 a day, but we are eating the 21. And I did look at it that way. I'm more focused on resources to help us do our job. But we do have 21 people that we've arrested for human smuggling that the county is paying for, you know, to house them. But under my administration, I'm not going to let them go. I mean, you know, we're going to put them in jail, and we're going to deal with it. That's the only way we can do our part on the big picture. And yeah, Don, on the Ingram's ISD, that's basically been...
Yeah, just to follow up, I just sat here and did the math on the average of 30-day stay. That's costing us $41,000 a month.
Yeah, and we've had
Just a
some
house.
of these, you know, these people, just so y'all know, these are lower line people that aren't up in the chain. You know, $1,000 a head, $2,000 a head, you ain't got I'm going to buy in on that. You know what I mean? You just got to get from point A to point B. They don't know. And so, you know, there's nobody here to bond them out. There's nobody cares. You know what I mean? They're just used as a tool, you know, to make money.
And they're expendable.
So
That's
I hate
exactly
to tell
right.
you, man, I may have them for a while.
I know.
I may have them, you know. Nobody's going to come get them out because they can recruit more all day long for what they pay.
And they may be sick and bring disease.
Oh yeah,
We may have to
most
hospitalize them. We pay
This
for that
girl here
too.
was in pretty bad shape, arrested. But, you know, another instance, you know, we talked about the bill, we talked about the bond election. You know, yeah, I hope I get a facility over there on the west side someday. I really do. I'm glad this is going to happen. We needed access to a computer. We needed stuff quick, and we didn't have it. You know, so, you know, this ordeal just took longer and longer to run across town. You know, it's not that quick running across, coming back and forth. But, you know, I look forward to that. We could have used it this weekend. I hope in the future we get a good facility. I think the county's getting to a size, you know, I need to have people on that side, you know, for majority of the time. It is foolish. You know, we operate out of one place. The computers are in one place. Everybody has to come to that place and respond. Y'all know from my office that took out west of 41, it's a good clip.
Well, and people need to understand that Kerr County is 1,100 square miles.
Yes.
And 2/3 of that
is over there.
Is in precinct 4.
Yeah.
And Ingram is kind of right on the edge of that. And so, we
And
got
that's
a whole lot of
all our human
territory.
smuggling is on 41. You know, I mean 4110.
Yeah.
You know, that, like I said, Kerr County, you know, it's a disaster. Yeah, you know, we're safe, but this disaster, you know, is just a part of them coming through and adding extra things for us to be able to.
Well, and so that everybody knows, the state and the feds recognize that we've got these transportation corridors.
Yes.
That come up from Del Rio, the back way on 41. And once they hit I-10, they go both directions. And we just happen to have a long stretch of I-10.
Unfortunately, yes. That's it. Thank you.
Okay, thanks. Let's move on to status reports from liaison commissioners. Anything to report?
Yes. Our extension agent is going to be leaving us.
Oh, yeah, I forgot.
And, you know, he's going off, he's doing a career change, going into construction. Talked to Michael Haynes. He was just talking. He says he feels like he has some answers for us. It won't take as long as last time.
He's the supervisor in New Valley.
That's right, for District 10. And so, waiting to hear back from him on that. So, we'll be looking at it. Well, if you remember before, it took a long time. We were without extension agent when Roy Walston retired. They had a hiring freeze, you know, and it was during the John Myers stuff and all that kind of stuff. So it took a long time. I don't expect it to take that long this time. And he doesn't either. That's it.
Good news. Good and bad. Good news following the bad news.
The good news is, you know, Justin's going to stay here in the community, and he's a good addition to the community. I wish you the best.
Any other liaison commissioner reports or comments?
Nothing.
Okay, with that, we're going to go into executive session and take a 5-minute break. So it is looking at the It is 11:45. Take a 5-minute break. Be back here at 11:50. 12:18, and we're coming out of executive session. And the only action item we have is item 4.1A, consider, discuss, and take appropriate action to authorize the county judge to sign a negotiated settlement agreement with the EEOC. And I move that we approve the negotiated settlement agreement that Mr. Frigerio presented us and authorized me to sign it.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Those in favor, raise your hand. Unanimous, 4-0. Okay, with that, we don't have any other business. We're adjourned.